In this video, I'm going to be making a Tic Tac box into a rocky cliffside terrarium. And watch till the end to see the finished results. I first started with the Tic Tac box. You can get these at basically any store. The first thing I needed to do though was wash it out. You can usually just get the food out by rinsing it, but I always like to add a little soap. Just make sure you completely rinse out the soap when you're done, as it could be toxic to the plants and animals. Now that the inside of it was clean, I just needed to get the labels off. And if the label's wet, most of it can usually just be scratched off. Most likely there'll still be some residue left though, and this can just be scrubbed off with isopropyl alcohol on a paper towel. Make sure not to use the alcohol over a wooden desk like I did, as it'll probably ruin the desk. I then let some of the alcohol sit on the Tic Tac box for a few minutes. The residue was extremely painful to get off because it took like an hour. But finally, the Tic Tac box was ready to be made into an ecosystem. That means it's now time for the substrate. The substrate is extremely important as it's one of the components that'll keep your ecosystem long-lasting. I'll put a good substrate mix I use up on screen. I then slope the substrate up to the side for a sense of depth and scale. Even though my substrate mix includes charcoal, I always like to add a little bit more. I then sprayed it down so the substrate stays in place. And make sure to always use dechlorinated water or rainwater. And I wiped down the glass so you and me could see in there. It's now time to add the moss. I began gently placing it in there. I like the texture of this moss because it looks like tiny ferns. I then added a twig for hardscape. I added the twigs in a way to almost look like roots coming down. And for even more hardscape, I added tiny stones. I did this to almost make it look like a rocky mountain. And for the finishing touches of hardscape, I sprinkled even tinier stones for more detail. The lid was covering the view a bit, so I decided to size it down with some scissors. I then gave it all a final spray down. And the ecosystem wouldn't be complete without the springtails. I closed it up and the ecosystem was now complete. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something from it. If you enjoyed this video, you may like the one where I made a spice jar into an ecosystem.